A 2-year-old Honduran asylum seeker cries as her mother is searched and detained near the U.S Mexico border on June 12 in McAllen, Texas. John Moore, Getty Images. The information emerging about the child-parent separations on the border that resulted from the Trump administration's harsh immigration policies set off a cascade of emotion in recent weeks. And it has left a string of resonant images, videos, audio recordings and reports in its wake as people have sought to document the practice and see how it was being applied. Time magazine. The latest additions to this growing body of documentation are magazine covers, which have re-emerged as potent social symbols in the highly charged media atmosphere that has characterized the Trump era. Time magazine's cover used one of the images that has been most resonant in the past week, taken of a young girl crying as her mother was patted down by a Border Patrol agent before the two were detained. Time took the image of the girl and juxtaposed it next to President Trump, whose hardline immigration views and reportedly political calculations drove the practice before he issued an executive order this week for it to halt. "Welcome to America," the cover says, as Trump looks down at the girl in tears. The cover did not portray the president in a flattering light, to say the least. Time wrote that it selected the photo because of how powerful it was, though hours after the cover was published, the father of the crying girl told the Washington Post that the child and her mother were not separated, an account confirmed by U.S. and Honduran officials. That disclosure prompted a round of media criticism from the White House and other conservatives. "It's shameful that dems in the media exploited this photo of a little girl to push their agenda," White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders tweeted Friday morning. "She was not separated from her mom. The separation here is from the facts." A Time magazine with Trump on the cover hangs in his golf clubs. "It's fake." The original photo was taken by John Moore, a photojournalist for Getty Images who has spent years documenting the border, as well as wars and refugee crises around the world. Moore told the Washington Post this week about the hours he spent taking pictures of a group of families who crossed the Rio Grande into Texas at night last week and then were detained. He had asked a Honduran woman if he could follow her and her 2-year-old daughter as they were processed. They said yes, and it was during that process that he took the photo. The mother stoically had her hands against the vehicle, and the girl was crying, Moore said. Neither were saying words. Nothing could be said with her. She needed to be with her mother. But the father of the little girl said that she and her mother were not, in fact, separated by U.S. officials. As the Post's Samantha Schmidt reported, Denis Javier Varela Hernandez had seen Moore's photo in Honduras, where the family lives, and feared the worst. Even before that news emerged, some criticized Time's cover. "Welcome to America, where print publications are losing so much revenue, they have to put photoshopped liberal propaganda on covers," wrote conservative commentator Britt McHenry. The New Yorker magazine's cover also made a splash as it made the rounds on social media Thursday, though it was created with a different medium, a watercolor by the satirical comic artist Barry Blitt. Blitt spoke a bit about the art of satire, how to use humor, and when to back off it. "Yeah, my first instinct is to try to make a joke, and it's not always appropriate, though those are the moments when a laugh might be most appreciated," he said. "Still, I'm not so far gone that I can't tell when a gag isn't the right response." And I'm always second-guessing myself anyway, so the process is messy and unappealing to talk about. Both Time and The New Yorker had made waves with many covers that referenced Trump or his policies in the past 2 years. Hobby Self, Samantha Schmidt and Christine Phillips contributed reporting. Read more. From KKK hoods to Nazi salutes, some magazines are betting on bold artistic Trump covers and twin rows. Unarmed teen shot and killed by East Pittsburgh police, remembered as a true joy. Coco, the beloved gorilla that learned to communicate using sign language, has died.